Hello and welcome to How to Play with me, Patrick. Today we'll be learning how to play Blood Bowl Team Manager. In Blood Bowl Team Manager, you're a coach in a fantasy football league in the Warhammer universe. Each turn represents a week in the season in which the coaches will sit down and review highlights. At the end of the season, the aim is to have the most fans. Each turn, you'll turn over a Spike magazine headline, which has some effect on the turn, and then you will turn over a number of highlights, one for each player. In this case, 3. Highlights represent things which are available for you to do, things which are available for you to win. You can see on this highlight here, there are the wide zones, the left and right. These are prizes awarded for participation, and in the centre, these are awarded for the winner of this highlight. Now you can see here that this allows a player to pick from 2 star players, represented by the stars. On the other side, you have the staffing power-ups, which are represented by the spiky rugby ball, and in the centre, you have the team power-ups, which are represented with the spiky helmet, and the most important bit, which is the fans, represented by the flags. Now, in a turn, players go around taking it in turns to lay a card. At this point, it's worth talking about the anatomy of a player. On the player card, you have the player's star power in the top left here. Then, going down the card in the centre, you have their skill icons, which I'll discuss more thoroughly in a minute. In the centre below that is the game text for the card. Sometimes this will include additional rules that you need to be aware of. Bottom left is the player's down star power, and in the bottom right you can see the player's team affiliation. Skills are played when you place a player on the table, but it's worth knowing before you do what skills they have. So, you can see here all of the skills across the centre of the card are optional with the exception of cheating, represented by the skull. When a player has a cheating icon, you have to cheat. In their turn, a manager places a player against their chosen highlight. In this case, I'm going to play the thrower on the highlight, and my participation prizes will be these 2 star players. Now, my thrower has a cheating skill, which means that he must take a cheating token face down on his card. Cheating is a mixed blessing because obviously cheating can give you an advantage, as denoted by the bonus star power potential or even fans available, but the downside is that there is a chance of being sent off, and the numbers on the bottom here represent how frequent each icon occurs in the pool of cheating tokens. Right, the other skill my player has is passing. Each of these highlights should have been laid out with a ball on it, like so. Passing enables me to move the ball 1 closer to my player. If the opposition has the ball, that means that we moved into the centre of the pitch. Having the ball gives you an extra 2 star power in your total star power, which we'll talk about later when we talk about winning a highlight. The other skills are sprinting, which allow you to take a card from your team deck and then choose a card from your hand to discard, and tackling, which is an opportunity to knock another player down, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now, I've taken my turn. Each player then goes and places a card at a highlight of their choice, and you can play on either side of the highlight, bearing in mind that dictates which participation prizes you get to take. The human player chooses to play at the highlight of my thrower. He's got 3 star power and I've got 2, and this is going to be facing us off in the highlight. When he's placed, he has a skill which is tackling. Now, at this point we need to talk about tackling. Tackling is done using these dice. They have 3 sides. That's the target down, tackler down, and nothing happens. So tackles are determined by rolling 1 or 2 of these dice. if the players have the same star power, then 1 dice is rolled and the result is taken. If players have different star power, the tackling player rolls 2 dice and the player with the highest star power chooses. In this case, the human manager would roll 2 dice and choose a result which they like. So in this case, they'll choose tackler down. This puts my thrower onto their side like so, and because my thrower is holding the ball and he's been tackled, he now drops the ball. Play continues with each player each manager playing players onto the table until their hand of 6 cards is completely depleted. At this point, we go around the table, adding up total star power on each highlight. At this highlight here, the human player has 3 star power, and the Skaven player has 0 star power because my thrower's down star power is 0. However, I also at this point turn over my cheating token to discover my fate, which is to have an additional 1 star power. In this case, not enough to win me the highlight, but useful nonetheless. So here, the human player wins the highlight, so they get the staffing power up for participation, and they get to observe 2 of their team power-ups, which are power-ups exclusive to their team, and choose 1 to keep and 1 to go on the bottom of the pile. And they also get a fan, which is counted on the dial here. I'll have to do that when it's reflected. For participation, my Skaven player gets to see 2 star players and choose 1. In this case, I'm going to choose Grashnak. And he is added to the discard pile, not to the top of my player deck. So once all the highlight winnings have been determined, then player's turn is over. At this point, you'll place all the used cards for your team into your team's discard pile. That should be all of them. You should end the turn with no hand. Then the highlights are discarded, as is the headline for this week, and a new headline and new highlights are drawn, along with a hand of 6 cards. When you can no longer draw, so in the starting deck there's exactly enough for 2 6-card draws, when you next come to draw, you will shuffle whatever is in your discard pile to make a new draw pile, and your deck will repeat in this fashion. As your game goes on, you'll add star players to your deck, which means it will get slightly thicker. The other things which may occur in the Spike magazine headlines are cups. You can compete for a cup. It's exactly the same as a highlight, except all players are able to participate. There are prizes, as you can see from the card. The prizes are quite extreme, much higher for the winning player than for the bottom players. In a 4-player match, you'll note there is no prizes for coming fourth, but in a 3-player match, all players go away with the prize. The game plays through 5 headlines, the final one of which is always the Blood Bowl, which is a trophy which is always for a lot of fans. At the end of the game, the player who has the highest fans wins. And that's how you play Blood Bowl Team Manager.